After understanding all the learning, the experience, all the activities, now the responses are stored. It's a cognitive process that these responses can be stored and later assessed. Now the assessment is what called as decisions. So decisions are based on the experience, your memory retaining capability, and the learning that you have been through. So it is a representation of set of feasible actions. So it depends on a set of feasible actions which you decide on which upon to act. Okay. So it is based on learning. Okay. Now the representation of, let's say there are multiple actions which are presented to you. What you'll do is you'll value each of the action, which is beneficial, which is costly, and then select one particular action on the basis on your evaluation. And then after doing an action, there will be outcome. Now the outcome will lead to a learning phase. So the outcome will be negative, it could be positive. The outcome will again lead to a learning phase, which will help you in representation and valuation as well as selection of the particular action. So this is sort of decision making capacity and decision making structure that happens with all the organisms. So they represent a particular set of actions, they value each of the action with cost and benefit, they decide which is beneficial or which is costly, and one of them they pick it out, which is based upon their own decisions, their experience, their environmental conditions, and then there is an outcome of the evaluation that they made. The evaluation might give a positive response, might give a negative response, or might give a negative aspect to it. So these kind of responses or the lesson that they received will be again taken up as a learning, which will help them representing better conditions and valuation as well as selection. So always remember that decisions that you make are better because they will eventually help you learn lessons. So even if it is a bad one, it will still will help you learn lessons, right? Then coming to this aspect of it, where we talk about economic decisions, like you're measuring decisions. Okay, so the entire structure of behavior, animal behavior, works around decision theory, where we talk about the cost benefit ratio. Cost benefit ratio is selection of a particular action on the respect of its cost and the benefit of doing it. So the net change in fitness is measured by the entire benefit that it got minus the cost of activity that happened. Okay, it might be energy, it might be food, it might be resource, it might be any kind of other activities that happened. So any benefit or any cost can be measured together to find what is the change in fitness and which direction will fitness flow in, or which direction will decisions flow in. So the decisions or the maximum fitness will be attained when the ratio or the difference between benefit and cost will be the highest. Okay, so whenever the ratio or the difference between the benefit and the cost will be highest, then that will be the point of maximum fitness. Okay, and this portion where you're looking at, so this is whenever the crossover is happening, this is the point of lowest maximum fitness or lowest fitness, because the fitness here is actually zero because you're not getting anything, the benefit and the cost is same. Okay, or somewhat, then the thing is you are seeing here the cost is getting larger, then that is negative to your entire structure. So you have to understand the benefit should be always above of the cost. Okay, so this is the assessment of cost and benefit ratio. So it could be an integral value where you're talking about direct benefit minus cost, or it could be benefit by cost, the ratio. Then coming to different models of decision theories. So different ideologies came in decision theory. Now decision theory talks about economic decisions. So that is applicable to economics, financial structures, psychology, animal behavior, and all of it. So it is to understand how different organisms takes decision and how they perceive different signals and perceive an idea based on the decisions. So the one of the models that were presented is optimality model. Now optimality model talks about optimization theory. Optimization theory is selecting the best optimal value. So it's like from good and bad you selected one particular thing which is best for you, best suitable for you. So it allows a calculation and visualization of cost and benefits that influences the outcome of decision, contributing to understanding different kind of adaptations. Okay, so in particular situations you have to understand which is beneficial and which is costly. So it is based upon three primary variables, that is your decisions, which talks about evolutionary consideration, that what are you doing, what is your capabilities, and what is the cost benefit of that ratio. what is the cost benefit of that action. Then there is currency. Currency talks about the intended maximized unit for survival. Okay, so currency is the variable that is intended to be maximized. So here, like, you are focusing on what thing to be worked on, what is the cost and benefit ratio upon. Like, if I'm talking about like food, then I'll be talking about cost and benefit of getting that food. Okay, and how much of food I'm getting. So currency is basically talking about what is the maximum intended variable, so the which variable I'm working on. Okay, let's say I'm talking about your sexual mates, so that is the currency for which I'll be talking about my cost and benefit. Okay, and then there are constants are the limitations that put upon that behavior. Okay, so optimality model talks about optimal decisions with respect to the variables, that is, you are talking about currency or the particular intended thing you want with respect to different constants. Okay, so you want a pen, then you have to decide what are the constant that you are perceiving, what is the cost of it, what are the benefits of it, and how much of you will be utilizing. Okay, so that is optimality model. But the thing is, here we are talking about just an individual's decision on the basis of an individual act. So it's like a pen. I have to decide to take a pen or so. But the game theory talks about decision that is based upon multiple people's personality as well as the influence of other individuals as well. So it's like a scenario where I'm taking a pen depends upon who else is looking at the pen as well. Okay, so that is what game theory talks. So game theory is very accepted theory of decision making, which talks about, a, a individual's decision is based upon the experiences as well as how others are deciding and perceiving their signals upon. Okay, so it's like talking about alternative behaviors and decision that depends on what others are doing. So exploration of game theory involves study of different forms of frequency dependent selection. Within a 10 people account, if 9 of them selecting are one particular thing, then I'll also select the one particular thing. Okay, so that is what game theory talks about. So it depends on what others are thinking and what others are doing. So it's a sort of conditional system, but it is actually functional on many different structures, because we as an organism are dependent on social structures. So social structures actually function around dependency on one particular frequency dependent idea. So if all of are going to one direction, then we'll also go to direction, like career direction, career decisions, and all that we take around, we are based upon what others are doing, right? This game theory actually takes in account of competition, frequency of the same species, the available resources, the cost benefit ratio, as well as different actions that are represented to different individuals. So it is a multimodal aspect. Okay, multimodal, where you're talking about multiple modes of interactions. So all of that taken into account. So many interesting aspects of this game theory is, one is the prisoner's dilemma. So prisoner's dilemma is very interesting factor or very interesting problem in game theory. Game theory's idea of about how people respond to one another decisions is represented in the prisoner's dilemma. Now the scenario is that police has captured two criminals. Okay, one is A, one is B. The thing is, they don't have enough proof to convict each other guilty or any of them guilty. Okay, so what they do is they take them to the interrogation room and pose them with this kind of problem. Okay, and ask them that if they want to either cooperate and say tell that the other person is guilty or themselves are guilty, if they can confess, or if they want to remain silent. So they have option of confessing that I have done the crime or he has done the crime, or remain silent. Okay, but the idea of how much their prisoner time will be, the idea of how much their prison time will be depends on the decision of the other individual. Okay, or the statement of the other individual. So if A stays silent and B stays silent, both of them cooperate, then both of them will serve 1 year. Okay, and if A says silent but B betrays, B tells that A is the criminal, then A will serve 3 years because of saying silent. B will go. A will serve 3 years because of staying silent, but B will go free. Okay. Similarly, if A betrays and B remains silent, then A will go free and B will serve 3 years. And if both betray each other, then they'll serve for 2 years. I mean, the thing is, if both of them remain silent, then they will each serve for 1 year. If one of them betrays, then whoever betrays will be set free and the other one will be set for 3 years. I mean, if A betrays B, A remains silent and B says that he is the convict, then B will go free and A will remain in jail for 3 years. Okay, whoever betrays will go out and the other one who stays silent will be staying for 3 years of prison. And similarly, if both of them betray each other, then both of them will remain for 2 years. Now the thing is, here the problem is very interesting. The problem is all about, if the other person will betray me or not. So the most possible outcome is both of them will betray each other, because the cost of it, I mean, the serving 2 years is better than serving 3 years, because you don't know the decision. So the cost of betrayal, is highest 2 years and the cost of staying silent is highest 3 years. The benefit is 1 year. So the benefit of staying silent, both of them staying silent, will be result in 1 year of jail time. But the cost of staying silent will be 3 years. So the cost and benefit ratio that you're looking is very high, that is of 2 years. The cost of betrayal is 2 years, but the benefit of betrayal is getting free. So it is way low than the cost of that of the staying silent. Okay, so that's the thing. So when you're assessing the cost and benefit ratio, you're looking at the difference. So if the cost and benefit of this is higher, more the chances of betrayal. You understand? If the cost of the betrayal and cost of staying silent and the cooperation is higher, then they will tend toward betrayal. See, this is how human mind works around. More the ratio of cost, more the chances of betrayal. So this is how prisoner's dilemma talks about. Let's say if we increase that to 5 years and this we go to 10 years. So the time that you are seeing, the cost that you are seeing is way more, right? So you have to decide what will go off with each other. So this is economic decisions that people make. Okay. And it happens with all particular decisions that we take. So we always assess cost and benefit, and we see that cost of doing ourselves with the cost of doing them. Okay, what the other person are doing, what they're facing the cost, and my cost is higher than their or not. So that's how we compare. So this prisoner's dilemma is very interesting factor or action that we need to understand, that people on an average tend to move towards betrayal if the cost of the betrayal is lower than that of the cooperation. Okay, so usually cooperation is of higher cost, that is altruism is always of higher cost. You can stay together only if you know each other. So that is one of the aspects. So that based the aspect of Hamilton's kin selection rule, where they talk about more people will be accepting cost if they are related to each other and the benefit is divided among each other. So if they are from the same family, then there are more chances that they will cooperate. If they are friends, if they know each other, then there are chances that they will cooperate. Okay, but less the familiarity or less the ideology of being same or the same kin or the same species or whatever, more the chances of betrayal. So yeah, so these all are economic decisions that are based upon the prisoner's dilemma. Now, one other aspect is hawk-dove game. Hawk-dove game talks about two different scenarios where hawk is perceived as an aggressive individual and dove is perceived as a silent individual. Okay. Now it talks about a game or a competition where both of them are facing each other. So we will understand that in competition as well, but give an idea that hawk-dove is not about eating each other. So this is not a prey-predator interaction. It's about competition. Okay, or decision based upon the individual's aggression or how an other individual is reacting. So this is also a part of game theory where I am taking into account how other perceive, how the other person that I'm dealing with or the other people that we are dealing with are dominant or aggressive or so. So if a competition happens within hawk and hawk, that is a competition happening within two aggressive individuals, then both of them will try to dominate each other, and hence they will divide the benefit that they're getting with respect to the cost. So they will compete each other, they'll harm each other. So the harm, that is the cost that they are facing, will be there. Okay, so the competition factor, the cost factor will be there with the benefit that they're getting. So V here is the benefit which is reduced by the cost. So if I'm getting something, I'm losing something, and that will divided between the aggressive individuals. So none of them will back down, right? So it will be divided within the two individuals, and this is how aggressive individuals fight. Yeah. So when interaction happens with a aggressive individual with a silent, when aggressive individual strikes with a silent, that is when a hawk strikes with a dove, the hawk will get benefit of V, while the dove will get a benefit of 0. I mean, the silent individual will not get any benefit because it's a silent. Okay, it will not be getting any benefit. All the benefit will be accumulated by the hawk, okay, or the aggressive individual. But when two silent individuals fight, both of them cooperate, then the entire benefit will be divided into half. The same thing happened with the hawks as well. The two aggressive individual, the benefit was divided within each other, but the thing is, as because none of them backed down, so there was additional cost to it. Okay, so the cost was added to the entire benefit that they got. So if they are getting 10 fitness point, so because of the competition they lose 2. So all total there is 8 fitness point right now, and that was divided among those two individuals. So each of them get 4. But the thing is, when two doves are fighting, I mean two silent individuals are fighting, then if the entire fitness coins are 10, then each of them will get 5. Okay, but when one aggressive individual is fighting with a dove, or they are competing with each other, then the aggressive individual will take over all the benefits, that it will take over the entire 10 things. Okay, 10 fitness units, and the dove will get 0, or the silent valve will get 0. So always you have to know the condition yourself in a competition with respect to that of the individual that are available. So you shouldn't be entirely silent. You should have a certain conditions which will allow you to attain some fitness, but not with the cost. So this is how the cost benefit theory is based upon when it is direct interaction with an individual, when they are competing for a particular resource. Okay. So these are very interesting factors. There are many other aspects of it, many other different rules and games of it. So the game theory works around different ideologies. So this is how economic biology works. Economic biology and economic decisions making functions around different factors and different decisions of individual psychological stress, psychological competition, availability of cost benefit ratio, the difference between cost and benefit ratio, altruistic behaviors, altruistic relations, and all of that. So it is pretty interesting to understand all of the ideology of game theory, optimal theories, and decision basis. But all of these experiences actually make us how we react to it and how we behave. Okay, so that is the basis of behavioral responses. Thank you.